This lesson is going to be on chords and improvising. The lesson is designed for a middle school class on a block scheduled day.
The students will be split in groups of two. They will take turns playing chords and improvising over the chord progression.
The goal of this lesson is to introduce the students to improvisation and to have them experience it.
10 minutes before class ends, the students will be given a sheet with the next questions. How did you put improvisation into practice? Did you like it? Why or why not? And how will you make it better?
The guiding question for our lesson is, what does it mean to improvise? So the song we just played for you was No Rain by Blind Melon. We're going to be using the chord progression from this song to learn how to improvise. But first, we need to learn how to play the chords. This is a chord progression diagram. The progression is from G to F to C and back to G, and each chord will last 8 counts. Here's a diagram for the left hand. Starting with the index finger, you have number 1, number 2 is the middle finger, number 3 is the ring finger, number 4 is the pinky. Now we're going to learn how to play the chords. On each of the chord diagrams, you have some small circles which will indicate that you need to strum that string along with all the other ones that you're going to play. So now, the first chord that we're going to learn is the G chord. This is a chord chart for the G chord. To play a G chord, you're going to put your first finger on the second fret of the third string, your second finger on the second fret of the first string, and your third finger on the third fret of the second string. The next chord that we're going to learn to play is the F chord. So here we have the F chord. To play an F chord, you're going to put your first finger on the first fret of the second string and your second finger on the second fret of the fourth string. The last chord that we're going to learn to play is the C chord. Here we have a C chord. To play a C chord, you're going to put your third finger on the third fret of the first string. Now remember that the chord progression was G to F to C and then back to G. Now each of these chords is going to last for 8 counts. Now we're going to learn about strumming and the strumming pattern that we're going to use to improvise over. Here we have the chord progression diagram. On every second and fourth beat, using your middle finger, you will strum down on the chord as represented by the arrows, like so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
What we just did was a brief demonstration of a way to improvise over the chord progression and strumming pattern that you just learned. Now let's take a look at the dictionary definition of what it means to improvise. Improvisation: to invent, compose or perform something on the spot, to make do with whatever materials are at hand. Basically, my approach was based on the last part of the definition, in which I used the ukulele more as a fusion of percussion and string instrument rather than just a regular ukulele.
At this point, the students will be divided into groups of two.
They will have 50 minutes to prepare a 2-minute performance of their take on improvisation.
In the performance, one student will play the chords while the other student improvises, and then they will be required to switch roles.
Once they have performed, they will be given the reflective handout to complete and turn in at the end of class.